Good evening and welcome everyone to the FireFly Neuroscience Shareholder Update Conference Call. My name is Walter Pinto, Managing Director at KCSA Strategic Communications. I'll be your moderator today. I'm joined today by John Olson, Chief Executive Officer, and David Johnson, Executive Chairman. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that statements made during today's conference call may be deemed forward-looking statements within the meaning of the Safe Harbor of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. And actual results may differ materially due to a variety of risks, uncertainties, and other factors. For a detailed discussion of some of the ongoing risks and uncertainties in the company's business, I refer you to the investor presentation referenced this evening, as well as the company's reports filed periodically with the SEC. The company disclaims any intention or obligation to update or revise any forward-looking statements, whether as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise, unless otherwise required by law. FireFly announced the closing of its merger agreement with Wave Dancer on August 12th and began trading on the NASDAQ under the stock symbol AIFF on August 13th. During today's presentation, we'll be providing everyone with an overview of FireFly, an artificial intelligence company developing innovative solutions that improve brain health outcomes for patients with neurological and mental disorders. At the conclusion of our prepared remarks, we'll host a question and answer session. To ask a question, please use the chat function of the platform at the bottom of your screen. If for some reason we do not get to your question within the time frame allotted for this evening's call, please email our team at firefly@kcsa.com. With that, I'm pleased to turn the call over to David Johnson, our Executive Chairman. David, over to you.
Thank you, Walter, and good evening to all of you on the phone today. Let me start off by thanking you on behalf of our management team and the board of directors for being stockholders of FireFly Neuroscience, now trading, as Walter said, under the ticker symbol AIFF on the NASDAQ.
Recording in progress.
Clearly, we're excited about some of the recent milestones that the company has achieved. But before I discuss that, it's important to know just a few points about the history of FireFly. As Walter said, my name is Dave Johnson, and I am the Executive Chairman of FireFly's Board of Directors. It is a privilege and an honor to work with world-class individuals to help disrupt this marketplace with our innovative technology, making a difference in the lives of patients and building value for our stockholders. But first, who is FireFly Neuroscience? Well, we are the developers of the Brain Network Analytics Technology, or BNA, which is a breakthrough in precision neuroscience, providing a unique assessment of brain functions to drive superior diagnosis, treatment, and ultimately better outcomes for patients suffering from brain health illnesses and disorders. This technology is all driven through what started out as big data, and today, as we all know, it's called artificial intelligence. FireFly's AI and machine learning capabilities transform vast amounts of EEG data into critical insights that continually refine our understanding and treatment of neurological conditions. Even more exciting is the fact that our database grows and gets smarter each time clinicians assess a patient using BNA. Now that's machine learning at its best. But when we see that 4 out of 5 North Americans suffer in some way through brain health issues, we think that FireFly's BNA can be an essential tool to support medical practitioners' efforts to address one of the largest healthcare problems in our society today. You know, for over a decade, we at FireFly have invested tens of millions of dollars in the development of our BNA technology. Our extensive database of over 17,000 patients and 77,000 scans, including our FDA-cleared innovative age-matched database of people between the ages of 12 and 85, is now the single largest database of its kind in the world. Together with 19 peer-reviewed publications, this gives us at FireFly honestly unprecedented credibility in the marketplace, as well as an early mover advantage in the space, while simultaneously creating a significant barrier to entry for our competition. So in a brief summary then, what do we at FireFly do and what is BNA? Well, BNA reads and analyzes the activity in your brain, collected using standard EEG technology. As this EEG data is sent to the cloud, our AI algorithm sorts the data and compares your brain to an age-matched database to our proprietary, and it's our proprietary database. BNA then generates an easy-to-read report evaluating your brain health, giving the clinician an objective piece of data to help him or her drive better patient outcomes. This adds a whole new dimension to the EEG data collected, and it expands the potential into cognitive and psychiatric disorders. And John is going to walk you through that in a little more detail in just a couple of minutes. But let me close with some accomplishments that the company has just gone through. As Walter said, first, we closed the merger of WaveDancer and concurrently a $3.5 million PIPE on August 12th and started trading on the NASDAQ exchange on August 13th. This is a key milestone which the company feels will provide us with greater optionality to strengthen our balance sheet in an effective and an efficient manner and in the best interests of you, our shareholders. This also allows us to jumpstart our commercial efforts and increase our research into the continued expansion of the company's technology. And as a public company, we now have the forum to amplify our value proposition to both investors and the neurology community as a whole. Second, we have been building a world-class board and leadership team, and most recently we added a Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Samir Kaba. Dr. Kaba has extensive experience in neurology, is a neurologist by trade, and specifically in drug development as a CMO in a number of different companies, which will be invaluable to our team as we expand the adaptation and the utility of our BNA technology. And third, we announced our partnership with the Neurology Consultants of Dallas, a leading neurology clinic in Texas, who will integrate BNA into their patient workflow while helping us continue in our research efforts to build up this technology. This is exciting, but maybe more importantly, it's a validation of our BNA technology in a clinical setting. So yes, we're excited about what we've achieved more recently, but we're more excited about what lies ahead in the future. With that, let me turn this over to John Olson, our Chief Executive Officer, and John will walk you through a short presentation of who we are in a little more detail. John?
Thanks, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Just to echo Walter's comments earlier, these are all forward-looking statements. As Dave discussed, FireFly Neuroscience is focused on improving outcomes for people with brain health-related challenges, either diseases or disorders of the brain. And it's hard to comprehend, but it's actually, we look at it as the last frontier of healthcare, with the lack of advancements over the decades and the staggering need being 4 out of 5 Americans directly being impacted by brain health issues in the healthcare system today in the United States. Through lack of advancement, we arrive at a point where we try and assess people's brain health through subjective measurements, trial and error approach to treatment options, and really not establishing true quantitative objective baseline assessments that clinicians working with their patients can apply to truly assess not only the accurate diagnosis of some complex disorders and illnesses, but also understanding if the therapy is working or if the disease is progressing and how is it progressing. This is where FireFly Neuroscience has dedicated themselves over the last decade to really disrupt the way that clinicians go about treating people with brain health issues by bringing objective quantitative measurement of brain function to the front lines of healthcare in the United States. I want to start with just a very short video to give everybody a perspective of kind of what we do here at FireFly.
Everybody knows that you go to a doctor when you're sick. But why not detect and treat brain diseases 10 or 30 years before they erupt? It is a well-known fact that human brain structures are basically similar. However, they differ in the way they function and process information. Together, these create personal brain signatures that change over time, depending on your situation. They contain your brain's unique and most accurate, up-to-date operational health information that, until now, has never been used. Why? Simply because no one could interpret what they mean. And this is how it works. Through a quick and simple non-invasive test, your brain's electrical information is recorded and analyzed by sophisticated algorithms that decode your personal signature. Then the information is uploaded to a cloud and compared with an ocean of data, which includes hundreds of thousands of unique, age-specific brain signatures, demographics, and clinical information in a short period of time. We provide you with your own personal, accurate, and objective brain function information, which can be used, if you are sick, to get the most effective treatment. And when you're healthy, this is a simple, routine, preventative brain functionality checkup. Because your brain matters.
The solution really is FireFly's AI-driven brain network analytics technology. The ability to support diagnosis using BNA to quickly and effectively arrive at an accurate diagnosis, assess treatment efficacy, quickly make decisions on whether or not the chosen pathway for therapy is working. If not, allowing the clinician with their patient to quickly make decisions and change the course of treatment. Track disease progression is really knowing objectively how the disease state is progressing quickly or slowly. And lastly, improve patient compliance, which is a substantial challenge in brain health related illnesses and disorders, building trust and patient engagement and compliance with the clinicians and the course of treatment. Just a little bit more here on the solution is that using standard EEG recording technology, we take that into the cloud, we process it using proprietary technology that is patent protected and compared to an FDA-cleared normative age-matched database, which gives that underlying objective assessment of a person's brain activity to a typical person in their age-matched cohort. The result is a very engaging and interactive assessment of brain activity that allows clinicians to support diagnosis and follow a course of treatment and measure it objectively whether or not it's working or not, which is really the basis of what FireFly set out to do. And truly, this type of unique tool that's available in the market today is poised to really transform the standard of care for brain health. At the end of the day, we're really proud of the achievements we've made at FireFly Neuroscience, and it's all about the data. Our extensive and growing daily database of over 17,000 patients using standardized technology and longitudinally over 12 disorders and illnesses allows us to do what we do at FireFly Neuroscience. And through advanced AI and machine learning, we arrive at truly the progress of diagnostic biomarkers, which support diagnosis and really give that objective approach. And this is really one of our fundamental strengths here at FireFly Neuroscience and creates exceptional barriers to entry, gives us first mover advantage, both for research and clinical engagement, but also commercially of making this technology available to clinicians in support of diagnostics. We're very focused at FireFly Neuroscience, and I won't get into too much detail on this slide, but we're targeting neurologists in the United States. We have a very structured approach on how we go about segmenting the market, sub-segmenting the market, and then going after certain aspects of it as we build out into the course of the next couple of fiscal years. Just further on our go-to-market strategy is that moving forward here is that in the focusing really it's a win-win situation on the patients. I mentioned earlier about objective measurement and how that works on supporting diagnosis and treatment decisions and the engagement of the patient. The provider is driving better outcomes and leveraging existing reimbursable EEG codes, and the payer has an enormous opportunity to optimize patient care, which can effectively improve outcomes and reduce costs through early detection and improved treatment. I want to just focus a little bit on the business model here as it relates to the provider. FireFly Neuroscience business model is that we can use existing technology, FDA-cleared technology, in a neurology clinic, or we will provide the technology in support of the adoption of BNA. It's a software tool that we use as a fee-per-use model. And what's really the win here for the clinician, the provider, is that using BNA is basically puts the clinician in a position that they're using established EEG billing codes, so the procedure is reimbursable, and it represents an incremental reoccurring revenue profit stream for the clinician, as well as for FireFly Neuroscience. I'd be amiss here if I didn't mention FireFly's active kind of strategy for CNS drug development. We've been very successful over the last few years with engagements in companies with companies like Takeda, Novartis, and Stalicla, that has given us the validation to pursue this area with vigor. The ability to use EEG technology with BNA gives us a substantial opportunity to collaborate further with CNS drug development companies to improve research, use BNA as a companion tool, and offer personalized therapy, which are all key triggers for CNS drug development. The path to commercialization is that we've got an FDA-cleared platform. We're starting to look into 2025 to commercially launch this technology into the neurology market in the United States. We've got a strong validated platform, and we're really, really excited about the opportunity to finally put this technology into the hands of frontline clinicians to disrupt the standard of care and improve outcomes for people suffering from brain health-related illnesses and disorders. As Dave alluded to, we've got a very strong leadership team at FireFly Neuroscience. Collectively, we have a team that has done this before. We understand the market very well, and we understand business development from a technology perspective, and we're very aligned, motivated, and passionate about what we do at FireFly Neuroscience. With that, I'm going to swing it back to Dave.
Great, John. Thanks so much. And listen, just to finish off the last couple of slides, I always think that, especially in nanocap companies, the ability to have a strong world-class board who've been there before, who have monetized and created great shareholder value is so critical to support the leadership team. And we're proud of what we've put together in a short period of time at FireFly with people like names that some of you who've invested in the NASDAQ companies over the years, like Arun Menawat from Novadac and Profound, like Brian Posner, CFO of a number of different NASDAQ-based companies. And listen, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about a guy like Dave DiCaprio, who developed and was a founder of an AI technology called Closed Loop Technology, in 2022 voted the top healthcare technology for AI in the world today. And so we're excited and very proud of the board of directors that we've put together. They're ready, they're passionate, and they're ready to go. Let me finish off with the last slide, if someone could move that for me to the final slide. And, we think this continues to be a strong investment thesis. On the left-hand side of this, you can see, listen, BNA is truly a game changer. It's the first of its kind objective brain assessment tool and patient management opportunity. It has the world's largest database of FDA-cleared normalized age-matched EEG. And to our points earlier, this is about a barrier to entry and a first-mover advantage, which we can take advantage of. Number two, the demonstration of clinical value. 70,000 patients, or 70,000 scans, and 17,000 patients, and 19 peer-reviewed journals. It's very rare that you see a company come onto the market with the technology that has that level of validation, which will do us well as we move into the commercial stages. And to that, the commercial stages this is a huge market and an ability for us to start the commercialization process in 2025. And finally, these are attractive economics as we continue to move forward. As John said, I've always been a believer that if you have a win-win-win scenario, that the patient wins, the clinician wins, and the insurer wins. Obviously, we commercially can win as well. This is usually a very good formula for driving value both in the marketplace and to our stockholders. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very excited about what's happening at FireFly. We're more excited about what's still to occur as we continue to move down this road and ready to execute with vigor. We want to thank you for listening to the presentation and learning more about FireFly today. And Walter, I think I'll turn this over to you if I can, as we start to look at some of the questions that hopefully we can answer over these next few minutes.
Yeah, thank you, David. And thank you, everybody, for participating. We have a lot of participants today, so it's great to see, and several questions that already came in. And the first question, David, you spoke about it earlier in your prepared remarks, was regarding the partnership with Neurology Consultants of Dallas. Can you provide a little bit more detail relating to this partnership? Why are you and John excited about this particular partnership?
Yeah, it's a great question. John, why don't I let you take over on that one, as you've spent a lot of time at Dallas more recently integrating ourselves into the NCD system.
Sure, glad to. Yeah, Neurology Consultants of Dallas is a phenomenal organization, and we're just privileged and excited to be part of it at FireFly Neuroscience. Being a large neurology consulting group of over 20 neurologists is somewhat atypical in the United States. And the validator for us is that a group like Dallas, they came to us, and after vetting a number of other companies to bring this type of incremental technology into their clinical practice, and they chose us, which is a huge validator for us, and we're really engaged with that group. In addition to what NCD does on the clinician side, they have a very, very large research organization that will support us in our future product development, as well as other collaborations and partnerships as we grow together. And they're very well respected in the community and considered as thought leaders, which helps us significantly raise our profile in the market. In addition to this, and congratulations to Neurology Consultants of Dallas, is that they were chosen as a guide center of excellence, focusing on optimizing the care for people suffering from dementia, which fits very well with as a differentiator for NCD, using brain network analytics as a tool to support better outcomes for patients and their families using dementia. So we're really excited about the collaboration and partnership, and happy to grow together with that group.
And John, if I may just add a couple of things, I think you would agree that the clinical validation that this provides us with, call it a center of excellence for neurology clinics, quite frankly, nationally, that we can utilize as key opinion leaders and references as we roll out from a commercial perspective, will be invaluable. And they're a tremendous help and will allow us to move forward most likely much faster with that type of validation. So exciting number of fronts.
For sure.
Thank you. The next question, the market is certainly improving outcomes for patients with brain health illnesses. The market is very large. Why have you chosen the path to market through neurology? If you can give us some insight into that strategy as a go-to-market strategy.
Sure, I can take that one, Dave. As we've alluded to, David and myself, during this presentation, the understanding of brain function and how it applies clinically is well understood and validated through many decades of clinical research. However, the ability to take the complexity out of understanding brain function and actually comparing it to a typical age-matched cohort has eluded neurologists up until FireFly Neuroscience came along with brain network analytics. So it's well accepted in the neurology community about the advantages for technologies like brain network analytics and how that brings to a typical neurologist in a clinic, and the ability to add this to their arsenal to give their patients better outcomes. Secondly, and importantly, is there's a significant advantage that billing codes for EEG, which are 100% aligned with what a clinician does when they do a brain network analytics assessment, is reimbursable. And thirdly, neurologists are competitive by nature, and being able to offer a technology like brain network analytics gives them a competitive advantage. And I guess lastly would be the ability to add a technology to their arsenal to support better outcomes that is incremental in revenue and profit and reoccurring is very exciting and motivating for the neurology community, and hence the focus on this market segment for FireFly Neuroscience.
Thank you, John. And now as a new public company closed on the merger with WaveDancer, you're opportunistically strengthening the balance sheet in the future. Where do you see the most important areas to invest in the business for future growth?
Yeah, let me take that one, Walter. I mean, it's a good question, and it's the right question as we start moving the company forward. There are two kind of, I'll call it macro areas that we will create a use of funds and start the most appropriate investment into this business. First is we're ready for the commercial adoption. This is truly about creating the right resources, doing the right things in the right areas to be able to have not one neuro consultants of Dallas, but 100 of them. And we'll need the right resources to be able to do that, both from an educational standpoint, from a clinical standpoint, and from a market development or selling standpoint. And so first and foremost, it really is about commercial adoption moving forward. But second, and not far behind, this is a technology platform. And our ability to continue to use the data, slice and dice the data to do other things. So I give one example in the ability to have biomarker development and use this potentially one day as a true diagnostic tool, more than just an objective assessment tool. That's an exciting opportunity in a number of those 12 indications, which John talked about a little earlier. And then second, can we target our technology more effectively into possibly new markets as information technology gains greater strength in the consumer market and others? We think there's a very strong possibility, and those will be the second area that we start to create a use of funds and target the investments in the right way. So Walter, I would point us to those two being in particular. There's some others in a smaller nature, but those are the two that people should have in their minds.
Great, and along those lines, I'm sure product development is top of mind for the company as the technology continues to evolve. What's next in the product development stage that investors should expect?
John, you want to take that?
Sure, good question. As we enter the commercial markets with a focus on neurology, it's quick to recognize that the total addressable market just within neurology within the United States crests over $1 billion. And the immediate focus for the company is well justified and in that particular market. But I want to point out that if we, as FireFly Neuroscience looks to the market, and Dave kind of alluded to other areas where this technology can apply outside of neurology into general healthcare professionals in the United States, we can't underestimate the fact that we have, our database represents a significant achievement, and that every assessment we do contributes to that database, which represents a huge first mover opportunity for us to get to what we describe as biomarkers, to use our DNA technology advanced to the point where we use biomarkers that can unequivocally determine with great level of accuracy and speed true diagnosis, followed by the idea, and where this is moving to, is the right treatment the first time. So the way that FireFly Neuroscience looks at market opportunities is the advancement of biomarkers is the right diagnosis with the right treatment the first time. And there's an incredible opportunity to advance healthcare in general globally with these types of pursuits.
Thank you, John. And thank you, everybody, for submitting your questions. Just as a reminder, if you do have a question, please submit it through the Q&A function on the bottom of your screen. Another question that came in is regarding competition, and I think we've covered some of our competitive advantages, but there seem to be several companies that are entering the space. How would we summarize our competitive advantages versus others that are also entering this industry?
John?
It's a great question, and one we love to answer. First and foremost, it comes back to the data, and we talked a lot about our database and how that gives us barriers to entry and first mover advantage as we progress going forward. This company has invested a considerable amount of money in a software platform called Brain Network Analytics, which is FDA cleared, which is unique in the market that we address. And being FDA cleared gives clinicians the trust and the ability to rely on the data that we're giving to them through a BNA assessment. That gives them that framework to make informed clinical decisions for their patients, with knowing that our product is FDA cleared, and it's unique, and that's a formidable advantage. And I won't reiterate again, but the lead we have in our data and our ability to do targeted research and clinicians with our partnerships in the market allows us to firmly establish definitive biomarkers, which we can apply to broader markets as well as within neurology.
Thank you, John. Another question that came in: why do you believe the stock is undervalued today?
Well, why don't I take that, Walter? I think if any board or CEO doesn't think you're undervalued, you probably shouldn't be doing what you're doing. So let's start off with that one. I think most of you probably recognize that entering any public exchange like we are on the NASDAQ exchange through an M&A transaction, like we did with WaveDancer, it's efficient, it's effective, it's a great use of funds. But there's always a but here, and the big but is that the investor public has very little knowledge about who we are, what we do, and why this is such an exciting story. And I hope you today, after the last 45 minutes, are starting to understand that a whole bunch more. And we clearly need to get that out into the marketplace. And so today we have very little exposure. We've been trading for approximately 16 days. We will continue to drive a strong marketing campaign to educate the investor public. We'll continue to move forward our operational initiatives to be able to share publicly with our investor public how we're continuing to progress with those operational initiatives. And so today is, my estimation and one man's opinion, is an outstanding time to be involved with the company as we continue to progress it now, enlighten the investor public on who we are and why this is such a large opportunity, and obviously start to execute in the marketplace. And Walter, that's kind of where I think our opinion is in regards to where the company stands from a market valuation standpoint.
Well said, David. And for a couple minutes over the allotted time for today's call, David, any final thoughts before we wrap up today's presentation?
Listen, first of all, for those of you who are stockholders of FireFly, I want to thank you for being stockholders. We take it very seriously, both our board and our leadership team. We are here because we believe we can drive some strong value both in the marketplace so that patients will live a better life and create better outcomes. But if we can do that, that translates truly right across into we're going to drive great value for our shareholders. So we thank you for being a shareholder today. We'll continue to communicate on a regular basis and look forward to continue to interact as we move forward.
Thank you, John, David, all of our participants today for joining today's presentation. If we didn't get to your question, or if you have any further questions, please feel free to email our team, firefly@kcsa.com. We look forward to communicating with you all in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that was FireFly Neuroscience. I personally believe that they will do a lot of the good things they said they're going to do. And I think this is my opinion, not financial advice, is the bottom for the stock, and where they're going to go, how long they're going to take to get there, I don't know. I was expecting more right off the gate, like great marketing campaigns, but it looks like they're starting to take care of that now. So let's see where it's go. It's FireFly Neuroscience. Could this be a huge stock in the coming year? Let's find out. It's Pete from the Small Business Resource Center. Like, subscribe, share this, and look for updates. Have a great day.